you could just talk about your recollections of Darryl as a player. You know, obviously he was here when you came here, but you know, when you first started watching him in practice, did you think, all right, I might have something here?
Well, we knew he was an athlete, but we didn't know he was that kind of football player because he's so daggone skinny. And we felt with what we were going to do with him, we had to bulk him up a little bit. But, you know, Darryl, you know, a lot of things you can't teach guys. One of the things, you can make them a little faster, but when, you know, it's hard to teach. If a guy can run, he can run. If he can't run, chances are he can't run. And Darryl had that one thing, he could really run. And normally when he got to the point of attack, he was in a kind of a nasty frame of mind. Darryl was a hitter. He was just a great football player. We did a lot of things with him. You know, we flip-flopped him in. Nobody ever knew exactly where he was going to be, but we liked to play him over what we called an open end. And, you know, at times he even played corner for us. Not many people know that. But when we kicked the front toward him, we dropped him off, left him go out and play a corner. And when you're a defensive end that can do that, that means you're special.
At that, I guess maybe he could play corner a little bit because of how small, like you said, he was. I mean, they've said that he came in at 145, 150 pounds as a freshman, you know, sort of evolved himself into that.
Yeah, he was probably, when we were doing that with Darryl, he was probably 2'5", 210 by then. I think, because we went into a real heavy strength program when I came here. In fact, we were so weak that we decided we wouldn't even run these guys because we had kids that could run 5 miles and couldn't lift 300 pounds. And where I had come from, Michigan, we were strong. And so that was my #1 objective, to get these guys bigger and stronger. And Darryl bought into the program.
How did he turn himself in from such a scrawny guy into such a menace like he was in the pros? I mean, how did he, was it just strength, or what innate things did he have that made him able to do that?
Well, you know, the good Lord made him taller. I mean, he came in here probably 6'1" or 6'2", and left here at about 6'3½". But, you know, with the diet, the nutrition, and the weightlifting, it's easy to take a kid that weighs 200 and get him to 230. A kid that weighs 230, get him 275. We recruited, you know, when I first came here, we couldn't recruit that 250-pound defensive tackle in high school. He'd go to Penn State and went to Pitt.
Right.
We got to 215-pounder, but in 2 years our guy was 270, 265 because of our strength program.
What do you think this means to Darryl, this honor, this going into the College Football Hall of Fame? Have you talked to him about it? Did you call him, I guess, when you found out?
Yeah. Oh, sure. I called him when I found out, and just like I told him today, you won't really understand this until you go to New York.
Right.
Until you're there at the Waldorf Astoria and see what goes on. And you have to understand that when you go in the Hall of Fame, you are now less than 1% of the college football players are in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Now that puts you in pretty good company when you can say that.
Darryl said he might even like to pursue coaching now that his kids have started to grow up and move on. What kind of coach do you think he would be?
Well, I would think that Darryl would be a heck of a teacher. I think Darryl would have to understand that the days are long, the weeks are long. If Darryl was willing to put in 75 or 80 hours a week, he'd make a good coach. That's the decision he's going to have to make. I don't think he's used to doing that right now.
But was he that kind of cerebral player, a guy who really understood the game?
Oh, yeah. He'd make a fine coach.